Hello, hiya. It's been a while since I've done a little live, and we will be doing a proper one next week, Thursday, the 14th of August. So, today, very quick, very brief. If I can manage to do brief, you know what I'm like. Um, I want to tell you about the next house healing training course that I'm running. It's going to start next month, so September 2025. And these courses for house healers is really about anybody that wants to understand more about how to work with the subtle energies of place. But it's not just about healing the place, it's actually also about healing and working with the subtle energy of the person that's living in that place, living or working in that place. Now, what this is really about is about your own personal self development and your spiritual development, because this is, I say it's about the person and the place, but it's really about also your own subtle energy. It's about your connection to absolutely everything that you experience in your reality. Now, this is why fundamentally it runs for 10 months. I'll tell you a little bit more about the structure in a second, but I just want to tell you a little bit more about the overall kind of outline. It's something that I've been doing for the last 5 years. The next group that I'll take will be about the 12th group, I think it is, that I've run. These are very small groups. And the reason that they're small groups is because what we do is we really are led by intuition. We're led by what the higher beings want to bring through for us as we gather each month. And we only gather once a month on Zoom for a couple of hours. But then there's a huge amount of self development work that I ask you to do between the sessions. And that really is based on the house healing principles. And the house healing principles are fundamentally about focused, heartfelt intention. So it's as simple as that. Now, I'm a little bit nervous about doing this. This has been so long since I've done a live. You can probably hear it in my voice. But um, the I hope I'll be a little bit better next week. Um, the course is incredibly powerful. It's incredibly simple. But if you really dive into it and make the most of what opportunity you've decided your true self has decided to take advantage of, it's incredibly powerful. Let me just read you this. This is a little. I didn't ask for this endorsement, but this is from a lovely fella who was on the last course that just finished last month. Now, I'm going to read it word for word, so you have to excuse me. I'm going to be looking down at this. But what he says is, this is an email sent, and I received it, I think, at the beginning of this week. Dear Tim, firstly, I want to sincerely thank you all. Thank you for all your help and guidance over the past months. The course was amazing and it has truly transformed my life and enhanced my overall appreciation of creation. That, of course, is the point. Your in-depth knowledge and passion is always obvious, and you always answered my questions in a detailed and understandable manner. Thank you, he says. And then he goes on to say, I've been rather busy with healing work, and the divine appears to be helping me in a profound way. And that, I read that to you, not because it's an egotistical thing, but because that is precisely what we're aiming for, what I'm aiming for, what we're aiming for, is to help people really kind of step forward from their, okay, well, we'll use Paul Selig's expressions, from their small self into their bigger self, so that they can actually expand and be present with the opportunity and the potential of what each and every one of us is capable of. Now, the thing about this is, some of you regular subscribers may think that I have a special gift. I hate that expression. I don't. I am not particularly sensitive. Some of the guests that I have on my channel that we talk to are very sensitive, and I'll tell you about some more of those guests coming up soon. I am not particularly sensitive. I have a certain level of sensitivity, but to do this course and to understand and to develop and step into your bigger self, you do not need to be particularly sensitive. However, most of you watching, either now or on the replay, will actually be highly sensitive people. And you know what? Some of you won't even realize that. It's an interesting, fascinating thing that we experience as we go through our lives. So what I'm saying is you don't have to be special in order to do the house healing course, but it can be life-changing if you step into it and you take it on board. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about some of the details. I'll cover this again next Thursday, but we are kind of a little bit short on time because the course is run over 10 months. It runs over 10 months because there's a whole development arc that you go through. And sometimes, somewhere on that arc, over each of the months, your world could be turned upside down. This is what often happens with spiritual development. As you step into the new energy, things get a little bit chaotic. So what I like to do is I like to talk to everybody before we decide to work together, to come on the course together. I want to make sure it's a good fit. And I also want to see that you're in a position to be able to understand and work with what we are working with. That's not to say it's intense or heavy or anything like that. It's actually quite fun. But we do need to fix up a short Zoom if you're interested, and we go from there, right? Now, those Zooms we need to get done in the next couple of weeks. So the structure of the monthly meetings, like I said, it's a couple of hours. They're only small groups, maximum of 6 people these days. That's the most I work with. This time, the course that I've just finished, we actually had 3 in 2 groups. So loads of time to really discuss stuff and get in there. So we do 2-hour Zooms once a month. And then you have homework to do, which is really based on dowsing your own property, dowsing other people's properties, and then you start as a group to work and douse the same property. And that's when stuff really starts to happen. The first half of the course is really about kind of understanding how you're getting messages, what's going on, where's your development going to be, where's your sensitivity, how are you working with the higher beings that you have around you, because everybody does have access to these higher energies. And then the second half is really consolidating what you've already learned and developing and growing in that space. Now, it's all conversational. I do not sit there with PowerPoint. I do not have a structure. I'll give you a link at the end of this little chat that will give you a web page to have a look at if you're interested. It'll give you a broad outline of the sort of things that we cover. And really, we are looking at the nature of consciousness, the nature of reality, and the spiritual approach to what that's all about, and how you can affect and work with your own subtle energy, and how you can learn to really work with the subtle energy via the higher beings for other people. That is overall working with the reality. And sometimes I've referred to this as reality engineering. See how you feel about that. Have a look at that page. It'll be on the links below. So it's a deceptively simple structure, like the house healing itself. Very, very simple. House healing basically is about getting a floor plan from somebody who can work anywhere in the world. It's a remote process. You can interact with that property, and you douse and you ask upstairs for information about what's going on, what needs to be adjusted for that person that you're working for. And then you sit at another time, you sit in meditation, you sit in healing, and ask the higher beings to effect the change. And then you connect with the client and see how things are going, and you work it through. We go through all of that process, deceptively simple. It's fascinating, the nuances that come up. So look, I'm going to shut up now because I've been on for about 10 minutes almost. So if you want to know more, do go to www.knightsrose.com. That is KNIGHTSROSE.com. It'll be in the links below. Drop me a line, use the contact form, take a look at the page, see what it's about. See if it resonates with you. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine. Just come on back to the channel and click the subscribe, click the likes, because it's good to have you here. But if you don't want to get involved in the house healing, that's absolutely fine. The cost is 175 British pounds per month, payable monthly. If that is a problem and you really still passionately want to do this work, send me a link anyway and explain the situation. We may well talk things through. Okay? Don't let that cost be a barrier to your growth. So there you go. So that's about it. That's all we're going to talk about today, except to say that coming up, I've got a wonderful interview with a lady called Ellie Petchett. That'll probably be up next week. She's a natural born sensitive. I'm just looking at my notes. Sorry, I'm not looking at you. And she works a lot with ghosts, entities, and demons. So those are the darker energies that you might possibly come across when you're doing house healing. Don't get stressed by that. Don't panic about that. Very, very rare that actually people come across those sort of things. And actually, if you're going to come across those things, you will already know it. So don't worry about that. That's one of the things we talk about. But Ellie has a fantastic natural way with her. That was a great conversation, and I will be soon editing a couple of conversations with Australian filmmaker Bill Bennett. Now, I love Bill. We talked a few weeks ago about his pilgrimage, and he encapsulated that in the film, The Way, My Way. And we talk in that conversation about earth energy. And of course, Bill talks about hope and the way that there is always hope. And then I have a lovely guest coming up that I haven't yet had on the channel, and that's a philosopher called Tim Freke. Some of you will be familiar with his work. I'm really looking forward to that. So Tim will be coming in at the end of this month, and it'll probably be live next month. Not live, it'll be on the channel next month. So there you go. Do drop in with me. Join me next Thursday, the 14th of August, and I will be live, and we will have access to the chat and all of that stuff. I will be assisted by my good friend and colleague JF, who incidentally has been helping me move my manuscript forward for my book, which will be out at the end of the year. So look, I will update you all about what's been happening. I haven't been around for some 18 months. Let's get back together again. Let's try and get some consistency going. If you want to talk about the house healing, hey, Hattie, nice to see you there. I've actually forgotten how to respond to these things. I don't. Right. Lovely to see you. If you want to know about the house healing, anybody that's watching or picking up on the replay, drop me a line using the contact form on my website. I hope to hear from you. Do take care, and I will see you next week. Cheerio. Bye.